Here we go with one of them. Ruben Amorim press conferences again ahead of the Sunderland game tomorrow. Ruben Amorim is speaking to the media right now. We'll have them quotes for you around 1:30. We're going to go through them live. Everything that's been asked, everything that's been answered, and all of your reaction to that, as well as mine here live on Forever United TV. Everybody, welcome along to the midday live show. We are on time this week. Last week, the press conference was all over the place. 2:30 it ended up going out. We did two shows because it got completely mixed up with the media. Everything is on track today. We're going to run through all the stories leading up to the press conference quotes as well now, just to keep you fully up to date. There has been a few snippets of news floating around as well ahead of the game tomorrow. And of course, we're going to be talking about what might be asked, what might be coming here in this press conference this afternoon. Let's get into it, everybody. Hello and welcome. If you are live with us, hello. If you're catching up later on, get your comments in below as well, please. Hope we're all doing well. What are we expecting from this press conference today? Ruben Amorim, obviously, injury news, who we're looking at. We know that Leacher is going to be nowhere near. Ahmad is back in training, obviously, as well from his time off through with the family bereavement. Casemiro is back from his suspension, so two players there as an option. He's already told us that Mazraoui is out until after the international break. So really, there's not much to look at unless there's a surprise injury update, which, of course, we don't want, particularly to any key players at the moment. But yeah, obviously, the goalkeeper, the form, everything like that's going to be brought in. The importance of the win, the Old Trafford crowd, blah, blah, blah. All of the usual premeditated questions that are going to be asked. And then let's see if there's anyone willing to ask him the awkward questions. Will you drop the Maguire, the Dallows? Are you going to give anybody else a chance? Is Kobbie Mainoo going to start in this game? Are you finally going to start Lamons? Are you worried if you lose this game, you might lose your job? Are we going to get any of them hardcore, hard-hitting questions from the media today? We'll have a look at everything going into it, of course. Announcement has been made, actually, by Manchester United. The Premier League has granted Manchester United permission to hold a minute's silence and wear black armbands in tomorrow's match against Sunderland in tribute to the victims of yesterday's terrorist attack in the city, obviously outside the synagogue on their day of celebration. You've seen the news, I'm sure, here in Manchester. It has been on quite high lockdown. In fact, me and Kaz were out yesterday in the Trafford Centre. There was armed police, full-on armed police walking around everywhere. It was quite scary scenes in Manchester yesterday. We've been here before in the city, and again, it is coming together to pay tribute to them victims of that terrorist attack that happened yesterday. Again, Manchester unites, and thankfully the Premier League, quite rightly, have allowed Manchester United to pay tribute to them that lost their lives yesterday. It was quite scary, to be honest, with everything that was going on. It's quite close to home as well, and where it actually is and where it all happened. So obviously, if you're in Manchester, you would know about this, but that is happening tomorrow, which is quite fitting as well. But it just puts a little bit of perspective on everything, doesn't it? And some really important things going on in the world besides football. And yeah, it was a horrible day yesterday in Manchester, as you've probably seen on the news. But football carries on. We have to carry on with the show, and the Premier League is... it's a full fixture list this weekend. In fact, big fixtures. One tonight, plenty tomorrow, another 5 on Sunday. And no Monday Night Football, of course, because it's international break after this weekend. So going into this weekend's fixtures, we have got another live show straight after this on Football Talks, where I'm going to be going through all of my predictions and a look ahead to the weekend's action also. So join us right after this show also if you want to carry on the conversation and your lunchtime football fix, because we've got everything covered for you here on Forever United TV and Football Talks. Let's get into some of the news before we hit them Ruben Amorim questions and them obvious awkward moments that are coming. Actually, do you know what? When he went into that Chelsea game off the back of the Derby defeat, obviously, he came in really buoyant into that one. Be interesting to see 2 games on, not much has changed. In fact, it's probably got a bit worse for Manchester United since then, if his demeanour and his mood has changed with it. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. Obviously, it can only go on so long. The stories circulating around Ange Postecoglou kind of put it all into light as well. Like, some sources actually saying that he's got until November, and he's only been in 6 games. And that's a standard to keep, isn't it? Anyway, Manchester United, obviously, you've got the news around the manager situation again. Graham Bailey has been talking about De Zerbi being well liked at Manchester United. I pay no attention to that. I think De Zerbi is quite happy at Marseille at the moment. There's nothing significant of it. All it is like we said this morning at the moment. Any manager that's mentioned is simply just because this game is coming this weekend. I expect all of that to quieten down a little bit if United lose the game. If United win the game against Sunderland. If they lose the game, then strap yourselves in. It's going to be a old bumpy ride over this international break with news constantly breaking about what might be happening to Ruben Amorim. But as of yet, nothing significant. The vibe from all of the talks and everything that's been said, again, similar to what we said this morning, is that Manchester United are backing Ruben Amorim. And unless it is an absolute disaster of a day tomorrow, then we are going to be seeing Ruben still in that hot seat come the game at Anfield when we come back from international duty. Look, I'm not saying that's a definite, and things could change. They might have had the green light off another manager and want to go for it. But I think, in my opinion alone, and just my thoughts on this, is that Sir Jim Radcliffe and Ineos are praying that Ruben Amorim wins the game tomorrow, so they don't have to really go into too much detail in searching out another manager over the international break, or have a meeting about letting him go. That might already be happening. They might not be happy anyway, even if he wins the game. A lot of the fan base are pretty much there already. But I just think it gives them a little bit of time and a couple of weeks just to say, right, okay, there's another half of a month gone. And then you get into the November fixtures near enough then towards the back end of the next group of games, before the next international break, and that's when you're going to get the real pressure onto Ruben Amorim. I still believe that it's going to be after or in and around the Brighton game. That's my prediction, unless he starts winning. If he beats Sunderland and Liverpool, forget it. He's in until the new year, and nothing's going to change, I don't think. That's all he needs to do. He needs to start putting a few results together, but it's a million miles away from that. Other interesting story that came about that caught my eye this morning actually was from ESPN Brazil. Now listen to this. This is a quote from Antony in the news. And this is quote unquote on what he has said to ESPN Brazil, obviously ahead of the international breaks. I won't mention anyone's name here, but I think there was a bit of lack of respect there. Even a bit of rudeness too. No one giving you a good morning, a good afternoon, not even that. But anyway, that is in the past. I won't give much importance to these things. Talking about his time at Manchester United. No one there to give him a good morning or a good afternoon. Is he talking about the manager, staff in general around Carrington? Either way, it doesn't look good. Like, respect where it's due. Obviously, I don't think Antony has caused as much of a stink as the likes of Sancho, Garnacho or Rashford. Maybe he was a real problem behind the scenes. But whichever way you look at that, it just shows you how bad it was when Antony was there at the club and what was going on behind the scenes. So that's an interesting one to come out from Antony there. I feel that he's really looking back on his time at Manchester United. That was a player that wanted out and out quickly of Manchester United. And maybe the people in and around Carrington, coaches, staff, manager, who knows, have made it virtually impossible to get out of, virtually impossible to survive at Manchester United. But look, you could look at it a few different ways again on that one. Is that one of the bomb squad members just lashing out because they thought they were treated badly? This happens, by the way, to a lot of players at a lot of different clubs. There are isolation factors going on everywhere. If you're not part of the manager's first team preparation or first squad preparation for games, then you will be isolated. It happens all over the Premier League. You will see stories everywhere about this. It's not just at Manchester United. The fact that it's at United is why it's in the headlines and being talked about so much. But Antony having a bit of a dig there. He's gone. We don't care. And just interesting to know if there are people actually at United that were ordered to give the cold shoulder, or was it just from the manager and his coaches? Maybe some of their teammates. He's not mentioning any names. There you go. And that's, I think it's quite clear the atmosphere and environment around United at that time was really, really bad. That's it. Yeah, I mean, again, looking at it, I'm looking what everyone's reaction is to that and what the news actually says. You can look into it as deep as you want, but I just don't think right now it is really important for us to be talking about it too much. Just interesting to keep an eye on, because if there is any other fallout, then you could be looking at this and saying that you are a bit concerned. You're a bit concerned about what's going on at Manchester United, and that could be big. Ruben Amorim's programme notes are out. It's crazy. I don't know why these get leaked out, to be honest. What's the point in buying a programme if all of the notes and everything are out? We have seen the right attitude and dedication from the players at Carrington throughout the week. We must now take that intensity to Old Trafford and play our football at our full potential. That's the snippet from it. I don't want to read into too much more of that. I really don't care. I don't care what Ruben's got to say on what the players have done this week. I don't care what the players have done this week. All I want to know is what you're going to do tomorrow on the pitch. Are you going to show that character? That's all I want to see in this one. If you are just joining us right now for the press conference, them quotes from Ruben are coming up very, very soon, in the next few minutes, in fact. So we're going to bring you all of them and then get your thoughts into this. Manchester United have not prepared anything in case they lose to Sunderland. Focus on the game, support Amorim, and try to get results. That's come from Romano ahead. So anyone expecting anything to happen or anything to come of this game this weekend, again, it's probably not going to happen. This has to be an absolute disaster class of a result for Manchester United for this to see Ruben Amorim lose his job, I think, right now. I think that's where we're at with it anyway. We do have a poll running in the chat right now. Are you going to come and join us for the first Friday Prem Prediction show? Yes, you are. Quite a few of you. Love that. Get across and have your say straight after this show, everybody. Let me know what you think about the games as well. We'll look at United again. But look, this weekend is massively important for United, and this is what we're all here for. Ruben Amorim's thoughts ahead of the game, Ruben Amorim and his thoughts on what's going on at Carrington this week. Let's see what he comes out with. Hopefully, Man United can pull it out the bag. That's all we're hoping for. Yep, Ruben is in situ. I think the quotes are coming out any moment now. He's already been talking. We have got the 15-minute embargo as usual, so the press conference starts officially at 1:15 for people there. And now we have got the quotes coming out 15 minutes later, and we are in. And straight away, Ruben's been asked on the attack on the synagogue yesterday in Manchester. So straight in with the important questions, you would say. Crazy world that we are living in at the moment. A lot of these things are happening. Of course, our sympathy for the victims, and we will pay tribute tomorrow. It's a crazy world in this moment, says Ruben Amorim. You can say that again, mate. It's ridiculous world that we live in, I think, is probably the best way to put it. But yes, like we said before, quite fitting that Manchester United on the day tomorrow will have a moment's silence and wear black armbands in tribute to all of the victims of the synagogue attack, which was, obviously there was a couple of people that lost their lives, but it's the people that are there suffering as well. So that's important to remember as well, the people that have lost their lives. So yeah, I think he's right. I think every Premier League team should be doing exactly the same, not just here in Manchester. This is bigger than just Manchester, so I think everybody should be doing that in the Premier League games tomorrow. Hopefully they do anyway. But yeah, that's the first question in on Ruben Amorim. Straight in there with probably the most important one of the press conference. Like we said before, football is football, but there are bigger things going on in the world as well. So yeah, more comments coming up in a moment. Bear with us on this. We are just getting them all through live now. I'm pretty certain it will be an injury update question that comes next anyway. I've accepted that we are in a relegation dogfight, so hopefully we will not be playing Stevenage next year. Someone came up to me this morning and actually said, it's a relegation fight for you today. This was a City fan. Relegation fight for you today, isn't it? It's this weekend. Sunderland versus Man United. I went, what are you talking about, mate? They're ahead of you as well. He's like, what? Just goes to show you, doesn't it, how good a season so far it has actually been for Sunderland. It's honestly surprise package. More on that later on in the day between the two teams, what I think is going to happen looking ahead towards the game. But yeah, we are well underway with we're well underway with all of the questions and comments. Ruben Amorim on Sunderland. He says, it's going to be a really tough match. They are doing really well. When you see their games, they draw with one less player in the final of the game. That was against Aston Villa, I think he means there. They draw a point and then win the final play against Brentford. I think the details are changing a lot. A lot in the table, I think was the comment there. So we need to pay attention to that. So it's a team that plays really well with a clear system, 4-3-3 with a lot of rotations on the side of the pitch. They will be confident and know we are under pressure. We need to be prepared for that. It will be a tough match. He also goes on to say, it's not just the table and the results which are in the end what matter most, but it's the way they play. They have a clear identity. They have a very good manager and a very good team. Obviously, giving out the necessaries there and giving enough respect to Sunderland. You have to do that. It would have been a thing you wouldn't have been able to think about in the past. United versus Sunderland, you should have been going into this game thinking that you were the favourites, outright favourites for the game against Sunderland. But going into this one, again, like Ruben is having to pay respect to Sunderland here because they are playing very well. They're a 20 times better side than Manchester United at the moment on the pitch and are 100% better organised as well. So, yeah, I think it is important that we do recognise Sunderland's qualities. And Ruben's getting straight in with it there. Let's get a few more in on this comment-wise from you guys. Everybody will have a heart in mouth when we see the team sheet at 2 p.m. tomorrow. I definitely will. It's going to be one of them, isn't it? How are you going to play certain players? Amorim asked about the consistency factor at Manchester United. We already talk about that. If you see during the 6 games during this season, we are not always the same team in small things. More in the way we play. All the effort that we put, the maximum effort into every single thing. I think it's not the same in different matches. We have to find that balance. It will change everything for us. He's right. We have talked about this before, and he's give exactly the same answer to how he answers that particular question every single time right there. I honestly don't care for it. Really don't. I'm just checking through some other comments there. Making sure I've not missed anything on this one. There's a few people dropping quotes on what's been said. Journalists from the actual press conference are all over everything in this press conference. Defends the system. You cannot say one thing doesn't work when it works one weekend. If one thing doesn't work, it doesn't work every day. We didn't lose because of the system. If other people have different opinions, that's okay. Well, yeah, there's plenty of opinions on that. Ruben's defending his system there. That tells you that he's just, again, going to go in with the same thing. And the formation and the system is going to be the same. Amorim on criticism from Rooney and Neville. It's normal. You cannot run away from the results. And then you have the baggage from last season. Last season doesn't matter. We've had 6 games this season and lost 3. It's your job to make the opinions. Right, so he means it's your job to change the opinions of the people that are talking negatively. One thing in that one there, the baggage from last season doesn't matter. Yeah, it really does, Ruben, because that's why you're under pressure now. You cannot say last season doesn't matter. People were sat there paying money to watch that shit, mate. You cannot say that, Ruben. This is where I start to fear for him a little bit, because in defending his system and getting ahead of himself and what's changed since the start of this season, he has forgotten about how poor it really was and why he's under so much pressure. Yeah, like, forget about it inside. We have to look ahead, and it's all about looking forward. I get that. But when you're talking in press conferences, maybe we have to make up for last season. Maybe we have to show more. Obviously, it can be lost in translation, and I do forgive him a little bit for that at times. Ten Hag had a real problem in press conferences with things like that as well. So I'll take that for what it is there, but he has to be a little bit more careful when it comes to saying things in press conferences. Like, forget about last season. No, we're not forgetting about last season. In terms of a little bit extra on what he said there, I'll just go back to where he was. We had 6 games this season and we have lost 3. And if we lost against Arsenal because of the system, it's your job to make the opinions. When you saw the game against City, was the first thing that you thought when the game started, was it the system? I don't think you thought about the system in that moment. And Brentford, the way we concede the goals, create chances, that is nothing to do with the system, and that is my opinion. I'm not saying this team will do better in a different system. That's not my point. My point is, if I look at the games we didn't win, the most important thing when I watch the game is not we lost because of the system. How many times are you going to say system in one bleeding paragraph? My God. That is my opinion. Then people have different opinions, and that's okay. Seems to be rambling on a little bit there, to be honest, to try and, the system doesn't work, Ruben. It's not working because you have the worst record in Manchester United's history. And it is because of the way you want to play. The players are not getting it. It's quite clear because no one's expressing themselves in this system or formation, whatever you want to say. I get where he's going with it, though. I get what he's saying. Like, he is defending like the moments of stupidity, but you're still playing them same players. That's on Amorim. It's not the time to say. It's the time to show. I can look at the games at this season. For me, they are completely different. There are some things the same, some different. There are other things we cannot change in our other games. We are not the same team in some details. I have nothing to say in this moment. My job is to prepare the team. Giving belief to the fans, that question was, and that's how Ruben answered it there. Do the players understand your system? The media are going right in here on him, aren't they? It's all about his system. He's going to start getting frustrated soon. I'm not even watching it. It was disjointed against Brentford, but you cannot say one thing doesn't work when it works one week. I'm not reading that out again. I'm sick of that rambling on type of response from Ruben Amorim defending his system there. Look, he believes in it. He believes in what he's doing, and that's up to him. It will either prevail or he'll lose his job with it. But I can't talk any more about the bleeding system. For God's sake, I'm sick of the word. I think I've said it about 80 times in this video alone. Look, oh my God, apparently that's it. That's all we're getting. Where are the questions about the injuries, the team? What's going on right now with these press conferences? I know there's an embargo version which will come about, but where's the updates? I'm like looking around here for anything decent or anything that we can get our teeth into. This is pathetic. I'm just reading through everything here. Consistency, Sunderland. These are press conferences when we want to get updates on the team, when we want to get updates on what you might be doing in the game. Like, no one's asking questions about the goalkeeper, Kobe Mainu. Like, it's all about what Ruben's doing. Like, the media need to get a grip as well here. Seriously, them questions are crap. Thanks for nothing, basically, is what they're saying there. Unless Ruben is really being strict or they're being told at the start that they're not going to answer certain questions. I don't know. They might have been briefed. I might be going over the top. They might have been briefed beforehand. You never know. That does happen in press conferences, by the way. Sometimes the media are told beforehand that there's going to be no answers on this topic, on that topic. And overall, we've had nothing to feed off. We've had absolutely nothing. We don't know who is fit and available. That might come in the embargo version, which is going to be out probably later tonight. We'll have that covered in the early morning show tomorrow for match day. But again, it's like Merritt says there. What about Lamens? What about Mainu? What is the fitness of the players that have been out? Are we going to see Casemiro back? Obviously, Ahmad and Casemiro came back to training. Well, Ahmad did anyway. Casemiro was always there but suspended. How is Ahmad? How is his fitness? And how is his head going into this game after what happened to him? Poor sod. Do you know what I mean? Like, all the simple questions that could have been asked and everything that we really wanted to know is nowhere near that. Now, maybe we'll get that later on. Hopefully we do. Don't forget, everybody, please pop a like on the video if you are enjoying the content constantly. I was hoping for a little bit more from the press conference there, but get your comments in now quickly on what you thought was important in that and what was missing. If Malacia is our saviour, then we might as well quit for the rest of the season. People talking amongst each other there. Let me just see what else we've got in here as well. Remember, the media are mopping on about Rashford, that they just won't let it go with the daft questions. Don't care about the system. Just pick the right 11 for once, says Rudresh. You need to get back in the press conference, Adam, because these journalists are freaking gormless. Journalists spend all week writing crap, and then they get to ask Ruben a question and their arse fall out. It's pathetic, says Stu. And Jody says, yes, Adam, get in them. Not much to go on, Adam. No, again, it was really disappointing. Really disappointing press conference from Ruben Amorim there. And I don't know anything. I know nothing new at all. Like, normally, right at the start of a press conference, you at least get an update on the injuries. Is it nothing to write about because United are not playing any games, that they're trying to save it and spread these answers out and trying to hold on, the media this is, to the embargoed version, which is later tonight, just so they get enough clicks and they get enough people reading their column inches? Honestly, that was crap. It was really bad. I want to know about Ahmad. I want to know about Mainu. I want to know about some of the academy players that have possibly been training this week that we've been hearing about, that have come into first team training. No. All they want to do is try and get a reaction out of him so they've got something juicy to write about in the pages. That's it. That's all that was for me. That's all that was. And they failed. Again, the media have failed us. Look, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt and see if anything else comes out later on. But I don't think it will. And we might get something on the keeper. We might get something off the back of the Mainu situation. The most interesting thing from that press conference was a quote that came out from Fabrizio Romano before it started, which was that there is no sign of anything being planned or anything going ahead for bringing in any other managers after this weekend. If United lose, it's just going to be the same. So realistically, what you're looking at here is it is the same outcome going into international break, whether we win or we draw. There is no plan for Ruben Amorim to be moved from his position. That they're waiting it out. It's going to be the November. We're going to have to wait another month before we get to that stage for Ruben Amorim, it would seem, going off the messages coming out. Antony says, when you've no midfield, how can we expect to compete? We can't set up attacks and can't stop our opponents going forward. We're wide open and get exploited every game. I'm going to do something more on that in a video later on, actually, Antony, on that one. So, good point, my man. I'm going to bring that up later on in a separate video looking ahead. Don't forget, everybody, we are going to be jumping across to football talks in just a moment for the Premier League predictions show. We're going to go through every single game, going through all the key players. We're going to be starting to do this every single week. So, yeah, join us over there in just a moment's time. We're going to be flicking across just a minute now. Thank you again for being part of the press conference show, everybody. Thank you for your participation in the chats. Great comments, as disappointed as I was with that press conference. Thank you again. Please pop a like on the video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And come and join me on Football Talks in just a minute. We'll redirect you over as soon as this stream finishes. Cheers, everybody. Thank you. I'll see you all later on.